you may be as you may be hurrying home or now at home and taking some time off to participate in this presentation. This is a new way in which we're doing our presentations from the previous year. And we're going to be addressing a lot more interactive exercises to where you're looking at where you're at mentally, stress-wise, and kind of really taking time to look at where you're at mentally as you go through this journey of managing your stress. We're going to be talking a little bit more on the brain's activities and how everything impacts one another and what's going on within your body and the nervous system as we navigate through learning how to manage our stress. Particularly now as we get ready to head into the holiday season and taking care of family and friends, and there's a lot of emotions that happens during the holiday season, particularly with Christmas and the Thanksgiving and having a lot of friends and family over, and also where there may have been the beginning of the year where there's been a lot of emotional items going in, and then trying to take care of all of that during the holiday season may be kind of difficult. So being able to understand how these things are happening, what's happening in your brain, and how you can manage it, not control it, but manage it, will make your holiday season a lot better and a lot more enjoyable. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to take myself off the video. It's very distracting to me as I'm watching myself and watching the slides. So multitasking, if we think about it, how many of you, you don't have to answer it, but how many of you are multitaskers? You do so many different things at once. You have your computer up with multiple screens. You bounce from one tab to another to another. You have on your desk different projects that you're working on that's not on your computer, and you're on the phone. How many of you are multitaskers? And we say, you know what, we could do this, we could handle it. And something that you could think about, something somebody said to me, you can do multiple things, but are you doing it at 100%? So think about it. If you've got 10 different projects that you're trying to exercise on at a given moment within a half hour, let's say for a half hour, are you putting forth 100% of your effort, of your capacity to problem solve, to navigate? Are you putting 100% towards those taskings? The answer is no. Okay. So it's really, and actually it's really bad for your brain to be bouncing like a ping pong machine. I don't know how many of you are seeing those little, go to the arcade, and I age myself. You go to those arcades, you got that little push button thing, and you push it back, and then you release it, and then you see that ball just bouncing, 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 bouncing. It is not good. I mean, if you think about that ball hitting all different places, think about your brain doing the same thing. You're just going to so many different tasks, and you're not really allowing your brain and your nervous system to process each one of those tasks at a capacity that makes it more effective for you, your work environment. It's really bad for your brain. So what you should actually do is give yourself at least an hour a day to being able to focus on different things and look at what you've been wanting to do for a long time, just to stop. Just stop bouncing around, and that will help to re-engage your brain. And it will also help you to manage your stress too, especially during this holiday season. So just give yourself 1 hour. You're at your work site for 8 hours, sometimes 9 hours, and maybe even longer. And you're given at least a half hour, 45 minutes of a lunch break. And sometimes 15 minutes break in the morning and 15-minute break in the afternoon. Ask yourself this question and be honest with yourself. Do you take that 15 minutes break in the morning? Do you take it in the afternoon? Do you take your 1 hour lunch break, whether it's 1 hour, 30 minutes, or 45 minutes? And if you find yourself answering that with a big 0, then what are you doing for yourself? You're not really helping yourself at all. So really, let's take the time to to stop and just give yourself a mental break. You really need it. So let's talk about neuroplasticity. And the only thing that it can do is happen when we use it, when we pause. And for those of you who may not know what neuroplasticity is, it is the ability of the brain to form and reorganize synaptic connections, especially in response to learning or experiencing or following injuries. What does that really mean? Well, what it means is giving your brain, your nervous system, the ability to stay still for a little bit, process what you're doing, process what you're learning. You're giving your brain a chance, the enjoyment of that experience. Interesting. If I was to ask you, looking at some of the experiences you had when you was a child, how much of you remember that? Those experiences that you engaged in as a child? A lot of you could go ahead and have a memory of something, and you can remember it, you can taste it, something you smell, it all brings those memories back. And that's because you was really focusing on that particular situation at that particular time. Now, if you think about now as we got older, as we're calling ourselves multitasking, because that's the most effective way to getting a job done, wrong. But think about it. Do you remember it? Do you kind of engage? You say, what did I learn? What did I remember? What I did an hour ago? And a lot of you are going to say a big fat 0. How many of you have more notepads on your desk trying to jot down things because you can't remember it? That's because you're not allowing your brain to form and organize synaptic connections. That synaptic connection is your nervous system building memory. So what do we need to do? We need to observe, be more observant of what we're doing, how we're feeling, and our response to those. Reflect on what is it do I want, and adjust to how do I create change. And this is particularly important as we get into the holiday season. When we start getting a lot of stressors, we're getting a lot of different things that's going to be wanting our undivided attention. And because we're bouncing all over the place like that ping pong ball on that machine at that arcade, the next thing you know, you're going to explode at somebody. You don't even realize why, because you didn't take the time to really see what a situation and what is impacting you. How are you feeling? What's your emotions that's stirring up during that particular situation? Because we're not taking the time to observe, reflect, and adjust, which is very important for us to continue on. So, of course, number one fact, and it's going to happen. Stress is a part of life. Okay, so one of the things I love to say is changing your relationship with stress versus managing or ridding yourself of stress. You can't rid yourself of stress. It's going to happen. It's part of life. So what you can do is change your relationship to it. And how do you do that? Some of the other things you got to consider, the harder you try to deny it, ignore it, judge yourself for letting it bother you, the harder it bites you in the neurological booty. Interesting. That's not a scientific term, but it's a term we're using because it describes your body's response. So, changing your relationship with stress. So what do I mean by neurological booty? It's actually called the hindbrain, and we all have it. The hindbrain is the functioning center of the brain, and see how they do and don't work together. It is basically controls the body's response and the vital organs and functions such as the respiratory system and the heart rate. But let's look at the limbic system and the cognitive centers and how they work together as it relates to the neurological booty or the hindbrain. One of the things that happens whenever we're involved in stress is a neurological process that your body goes through. The body creates cortisol, and also the hippic axis in the brain. Now, epigenetics, now we talked about this during the last month, but sometimes your response to stress may not be your fault, but it can be a family connection, because studies have shown that under certain conditions that our bodies are in. If you could put your mute on, I would appreciate it. I don't think you realize that I can hear you in your conversation. And it's also kind of good. I remember I was doing I was listening to a presentation of somebody in the background on the phone talking about, this is really boring, not realizing that everybody heard them, including the speaker. So please put yourself on mute. Well, one of the things with epigenetics is that during stress, during any type of prolonged process in your nervous system, it changes your DNA. And that DNA process of change also becomes part of your genetics. It changes your genetics, and that goes from one generation to another generation to another generation. So let's think about it. And I tell a lot of my clients a lot of times, you look at your behavior. If a lot of people say, well, I'm an A person, and I'm looking at, are you really? Look at your parents, the influences in your life. Look at them, look at the people before them, look at your generation. And if you see a certain pattern of behaviors, and then you also look at those behaviors and the medical conditions associated with it, stress ulcers, autoimmune diseases, all relating to different stressors. So that may be what you're trying to defeat, and you can, but you have to understand it and start observing, reflecting, and adjusting. So one of the things you want to do is start measuring and understanding the different functions within the brain and how it works. So how do we change our relationship with stress, especially before the holiday? So it's really pretty simple. It's really basically based on your breath. And we're going to talk about different ways in which you could do that, which you've been doing for a really long time. We all breathe. And even sometimes changing your pattern of breathing for 10 minutes a few times a week can help rewire your brain from the chronic stress reactions. And this is just not something that we think is all fluffy and think is all nice and pretty and it sounds good. There have been actual studies that have shown that when you take at least 10 minutes, changing your breath pattern, how it changes your nervous system responds at any given moment. Interesting. But first, before we go ahead and start that journey, let's acknowledge where we are right now today before we try to initiate any changes. So if you look at this bullseye view here, if the center of the bullseye is saying I'm spot on with the way I manage stress, put that in the middle. And the outer ring is I'm totally not where I want to be with this. So if you look at it at any one of the systems, if you feel that you're managing your stress, bam, right there in the middle. But if you find yourself having problems with coping with situations and not handling it, whether or not it's in your work, education, your personal growth or relationship, as you get further out of the ring, you want to go ahead and say, I'm not really on target here. So what I would like for you to do is to go ahead and just take a few seconds and kind of gauge right where you're at right now at this particular moment. Are you spot on managing your stress? Or right now, are you biting your fingernails, looking at the clock to see when this presentation is going to be over? Or when you had to do that next deadline and you're kind of fidgeting in your chair? If that's you, you're probably in the outer rings. So kind of take a few minutes and I'm gonna just keep quiet while you gauge yourself. Okay, I think that gives you enough time to kind of, gauge where you're at. Let's go to the next slide. So what happens when you do just 10 minutes a day? The longest break people take anytime is 10 minutes. And I'm going to say I'm guilty. I've been doing a lot of stuff. So doing these presentations helps to engage me, helps me to reassess where I'm at and what I'm doing, which I'm really enjoying this. Because just doing 10 minutes a day is pausing and it's actually helping you to readjust on any particular, what we like to call 911 situation, any emergencies, any stressors that's kind of bothering you. Just 10 minutes. So by practicing certain mindfulness techniques, what we're going to do is going to practice those. And we're going to do 3 different ones. We're going to go ahead and do the breath, and we're going to do a sky meditation and a body scan. So in order to do that, what I would like for you to do is, I want you, we inhale, we exhale, we pause. Okay. So as we get ready, I would like for you to go ahead and, if you're sitting on the floor, that's fine. If you're home and listening to this, but if you're still at work or, kind of taking a break, you could be having your hands on your knees or thighs. Don't cross any legs. Don't cross your arms. Don't even cross your fingers with the thing. Oh, I hope this don't hurt. But you could lower your eyes, and I'm going to have a video. If you want, you could close your eyes, or you could kind of have a downward gaze. And place your attention gently on the flow of the breath through your nose. And in every exhale, I want you to say to yourself, I choose to feel safe right now. Okay. And we're going to be doing a sun warming body scan and picturing a picture of liquid sunshine pouring into the top of your head and filling you from the toes upward. And then be curious. And if you find while we're doing this, we call sticking points. And those, as we're doing this, you're going to notice areas where you feel like you can't go any further. And we're going to just do this and continue on. So We're going to go ahead and get this little video. Somehow or another, my videos is kind of skipping, so I do apologize with the video. Better. So what I want, I live right by Randolph, so every time any of the training flights go overhead, it kind of interrupts my signal. So what I want you to do is take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Inhale and exhale. And as you find yourself gently relaxing more and more, I want you to kind of picture yourself sitting in a nice beach area with the sand underneath your feet and a nice warm sun, kind of like the warmth of the sun in a picture. And feel that picture of sunshine being poured into the top of your head, and feel that warmth just gently pouring down from your scalp to your face, to your forehead, to your neck, to your shoulders. And as you're inhaling and exhaling, just be observant of anything what we call sticking points, where it feels like that sunshine that is not able to move any further. Just observe it, reflect on what it may be stopping that flow, and just move on. Just open up that pathway as you allow that warmth to gently go down your arms, to your hands, enveloping into your diaphragm and your abdomen. Feeling the warmth enveloping in your body with each breath that you take. Just take your time. If you're feeling anything that's hindering that flow, again, just take the time to observe it, how it's making you feel. We call those sticky points. So observe it. You don't have to make any changes. And realize that it's there. And just take another deep breath in and exhale. And allow yourself the chance and the opportunity to sink deeper and deeper into a state of relaxation. Feeling that picture of warm sunshine flowing through your abdomen, onto your thigh, down your leg, surrounding your calves. With each breath, inhaling and exhaling, feeling that warmth going down to your feet, and connecting with that warm beach sandy feeling underneath your feet. Now feeling your whole body filled with this warmth of sunshine. Okay, well, just take your time to bring yourself back to where we are in our present moment. So how did that feel? And that was just 5 minutes. Just think about how you would feel if you were to do that on a regular basis or even do it for 10 minutes. Just reflect on how you feel and how you can incorporate this just few minutes throughout your day. And sometimes I know when I used to do a lot of meditations, one of the things that a lot of people would tell me that they couldn't do these exercises because I wasn't available to guide them through it. And but actually just taking a few minutes to relax and just breathe, doing nice deep inhaling and exhaling is all you really need. We also have videos that we've done of meditations that if you want, you go into our website and, check those things out. Or you could go onto YouTube and just listen to some music and just take the time to listen to that music and just breathe. Just take a nice deep breath in and out. So whatever tools you need to go ahead and help on this journey to helping yourself to de-stress, just go ahead and check it out for yourself. So why the breath? A lot of times I've been doing breathing exercises and meditations for so many years. And one of the things, it serves as a focus to collect all of our energy to bring us to that present moment. And you could do the really most effective ones is what we call when you're using the rise and falling of the belly or diaphragmatic breathing. And when you're doing that, you're taking that time, you're actually allowing your body to feel the sensation of the breath. You allowing your sensors to really feel what it's doing. And I'm quite sure if some of you think about it, how many of you are shallow breathers? You go, when you just breathe in and out, you don't even think about anything. So you can really stop doing the visualization and just breathe, just regularly. But sometimes it gets to be easily distracted, but we'll talk more about that later. So we're going to talk a little bit about the vagus nerve stimulation. And one of the things, and I, as a nurse and been nursing, I'm actually, my first degree is in biology and pre-med, and that was at least over 30, almost close to 45 years ago. That's dating myself. But anyway, but then, from that time back in 76 to the present moment when I went back to school and got my degree in nursing, there was a lot of information that through studies we found that things have changed on our knowledge. And one of the things is the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve runs all the way from the top of, in your brain, in the nervous system in your brain. And it innervates, which means it nerves, the vagus nerve innervates, which means it goes through every system in your body. There's not one system in your body that the vagus nerve does not touch. And so by the vagus nerve stimulation, there's so many benefits here that by doing certain practices of stimulating the vagus nerve, it helps lower blood pressure, makes better sleep. It helps rises your immunity. And also help relieve the depression, anxiety, and also helps raise your levels of endorphins. Endorphins are the happy juices and what we want to do to help with our relaxation. So by doing a vagus nerve stimulation, you're able to do so many different things. And there's been studies that's showing this that we didn't know 45 years ago. And actually, even 15 years ago, when I was studying nursing, there was so much about the vagus nerve. Do not stimulate the vagus nerve because it could cause problems with the heart. Well, you have to be careful about that, but it got you so used to don't touch it, that by studies have shown by stimulating, gently stimulating the vagus nerve helps and has so many benefits to the overall body and your well-being. So let's take a moment and just look at it, you know. As we talked earlier, the limbic system being like highway 410 and the cognitive systems being like 1604. How might this nerve be a bridge builder between the regions of the brain and the body and the brain? Connecting, if you think about it, then that nerve connects every area of your body, and it takes you right to the brain, takes it to your limbic system, which is the part that the brain involves about behavior and emotions, and the cognitive systems, which is the source of all of our mental system processes and process. So isn't that a beautiful thing? So what are somatic markers? How does the vagus nerve help us in this moment? The somatic markers has the power to emotionally regulate your body and your mind connection. It helps process cortisol. It helps, reduce stress in the body and de-escalate panic. How many of you suffer from panic disorders? Yes, quite a few. So being able to take care of this will help alleviate a lot of the problems that we're faced with on a regular basis. So where are some of those markers? And so in the lower eyes, a quick body scan. So what we're going to do is go ahead and work on this. And we're going to do another vagus nerve stimulation. And as we're doing this, there's this quick body scan starting at our crown. We're going to be able to identify and find stresses in our body and our neck and shoulders. And then, of course, we're going to find some sticky points. And you may wish to linger there longer during the body scan earlier. Okay? So simple way to do this is what we call a deep diaphoretic breathing. And that's what we call a belly balloon breathing, or sometimes we refer to as a Buddha breath. You ever seen those little Buddhas, those little statues, and that, guy's sitting and he's got this big belly. So that's more like we call diaphoretic breathing. And you can do this 5 or 10 minutes a day. And one of the things about doing that is the fact that when you're moving your abdomen, you're stimulating the vagus nerve that runs through that part of your body. And then there's also what we call the hummingbee breath. And we call the other one the Ujjayi, and it can be done daily. And that's when we could do that for, kind of like a 911 emergency. We need to go ahead and de-stress. And so with each one of these, you could do this differently, the diaphoretic breathing. You could just take a nice deep breath, and as you're inhaling, you want to allow your abdomen to expand. And as it's expanding, your diaphragm is lowering and your belly is pushing out. And as you're doing that, and then you exhale, you're going to go ahead and push your stomach in, almost as if you're pressing your belly button, almost to the point where you wanted to go ahead and touch your spinal cord. Okay, so you're just inhaling and then exhaling. Now the hummingbird breath is very interesting. And what you do, you don't want to do this one while driving. And actually what you're going to do is you're going to put your fingers, your thumbs along. Let me see if I can put my video on. But you're going to put your fingers, let me see here. Okay. You're going to put your fingers, your thumbs along here, along your ears, right above it. And then you're going to go. You could do that, but you don't want to do that while driving. And then with the other one, is really doing the ha. And by doing that, inhaling, ha, when you're doing that breath, we had gone through that exercise couple of videos before, but that when you're doing ha sound, you're actually stimulating the vagus nerve that runs back in here along the back of your throat. So ha, so being able to do that, you're actually allowing that to stimulate the breath. And you could do that while driving. And you could do it, if you do it really loud, that's okay. There's nobody in the car with you. Not unless you're in a carpool and you have everybody, they really driving you crazy. You could do that and they'll use that as a signal. Chill. Okay. I think that would be a kind of nice way. I'm doing my breath. You're stressing me out. But anyway. So, is there anything else? Do you have any questions about, or you want me to talk to you any more about those different breaths? And we only have maybe one or two people here, but we'll continue on. And then for those of you who are listening to this, if you do have any questions that you want to address, you could go ahead at the end of this presentation, you can give me a call or you can actually email us. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do a diaphoretic breathing. And during this breath, during this meditation, I want you just to be able to relax and to just, inhaling and exhaling, using your diaphragm, lowering your diaphragm and pushing out your Buddha belly. So let's get started. And it's only 5 minutes. As you have your feet gently planted on the floor, hands in your lap, in a nice comfortable position, kind of sit with your back up against your chair. So as you're allowing your abdomen to expand, and for those of you who may have a little bit of a belly, it doesn't hit on your lap and makes you feel uncomfortable. So take a nice deep breath in through your inhaling through your nose, and as you're inhaling, allow your diaphragm to lower, expanding your lungs and pushing out your abdomen. And I always like to tell people just to hold that breath for just maybe 5 seconds. And then as you're gently exhaling through your mouth, try to push that belly button all the way to your spine. Inhaling. Exhaling. For some people, this may be a little bit difficult because we're so shallow breathers and we don't know how to take nice deep breaths and inhaling and exhaling, but that's okay. Don't allow yourself to get frustrated. It's a process. So inhale and exhale. And as you're inhaling and exhaling, I want you to just start at the bottom of your feet and just become aware of any sensations at your feet. Inhaling and exhaling. And for some, doing this deep breathing, you might feel tingling in your feet, and that's okay. As we gently move up to your calves, just feeling any sensations, and visualize what's, your calf and the muscles, and any sensations, or what we like to refer to as sticking points. Just become aware of it. How are you feeling? And how does that make you feel right now? Moving up to your thighs, your calf, your thighs, and the legs. The sensation of your thighs against the chair and the material. Just become aware of that sensation and how it feels. You don't have to do anything, just how it feels, and be aware of it. Inhale, exhale, and just moving gently up to your abdomen, and the sensations of doing that Buddha belly breathing, expanding and relaxing, moving gently upward to the lungs, noticing any stickiness and how it's making you feel. Just become aware of it. There's no contest. You don't have to analyze it. Just become aware of the sensations that it's having. And each time that you do this, you're going to become more aware and aware of how your body is responding to these different types of breathing techniques. So move gently up to your neck, your face, your cheeks, your forehead. Okay. So we already did the hummingbird breath. Did anybody had any questions on how to do that? That's where we kind of put our hands up around the ears, and you did the breath. And as we did that, we covered our eyes. And so due to time, we will not go ahead and try to have you practice it, but if you want, we could do that at a later time. So we have the 5 senses down to the task network, TPN. And so I'm actually looking at the time, so we're kind of almost got about 8 more minutes. So what I want you to do is, when we're doing these stimulations and everything, I want you to kind of really think about be aware, how things feel. What makes, be more aware of your senses, and not so in a hurry. What do you smell? Plan ahead. You can plan ahead with scent or essential oil that helps you relax. What can I taste? Lean into gratitude while eating. These are different things that you can do just doing different simulations of your senses, your touch, your feel, your smell. If you stimulate and what you see, when you stimulate all of these, guess what? You're stimulating your vagus nerve, and you're helping to calm yourself down. One of the things, especially with mindfulness, which is we've been talking about this a lot and talked about it and practiced it in our previous ones. But one of the things of a distracted mind, it keeps you so distracted. You're not able to focus. You're not able to, feel your senses and what's going on around you. And you become very scattered. So one of the things by with doing a mindfulness practice, you're allowing to receive distractions with curiosity, okay, as they arise, without the need to tend or to locate a source. You're just being mindful of it, as the word says. So as you're being distracted or something's going on, stop. Especially if you're doing a meditation, just say, okay, that's happening. All right. I don't have to make any changes. I just want to become more aware of it. And just go, let me go back to my focused breathing and my ability to calm and relax. But you know what? One of the great things, it's okay. It's okay to reset. It's okay to do these different types of techniques, because every time you bring your attention back from the distraction to your centeredness, present situation, it's okay. Sometimes we get frustrated. Oh man, I got distracted. I had to stop my meditation. And then you spend more time pondering and getting frustrated on what you didn't do versus what you can do. We all get distracted. So if you're thinking about that presentation, okay, become aware of it. Okay, I'm just got myself distracted thinking about that presentation I got to get ready for. And just bring yourself back to your breath. Become aware of it and how it's making you feel. Okay. Now let me go back to my breath. Let me go back to my hummingbird. Let me go back to my And when you do these different types of things to bring you back to your attention to the present moment, you allowing your brain to reset. And as we talked about neuroplasticity, you're allowing your brain and body to form and recognize and respond to different learning experiences and to correct them. Isn't that great? So how can you focus your distracted mind? Sometimes when you listen to a radio and as you're sitting in the cafe, you can actually just bring your attention to all the different things that's around you. And so let's plan for the distractions. Okay, I'm going to be distracted because I got to do a presentation. I'm going to be distracted because I got to do this. Okay, plan it all ahead. Now, as you're planning all ahead, do all the different things to help to bring you back to your present moment. And through the different techniques of breathing techniques that we've learned throughout this exercise, you could do those different things to go ahead and reset your brain, reset your body's ability to respond to stressors, and to also calm yourself, and also to stimulate your vagus nerve. And by stimulating your vagus nerve, you're allowing every system in your body, all the way from your brain, all the way to the bottom of your feet. Because like I said, the vagus nerve stimulates every area of your body. So some of you had attended, signed up for, and haven't actually been able to physically do it, but you're actually reviewing this, what is your reason for signing up for this? What is your reason for it? So think about your reason for it, why you're spending this time here, and what you want to gain. And by doing this, you're setting yourself and you're finding deep intentions for times that you would like to deepen your mindfulness practice. So think about it. Just take a few minutes, close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths, and ask yourself, why am I here? Some of you almost kind of worrying about next week, or you're already kind of like, next week, Wednesday, I got to get ready, get my sweet potatoes done, my macaroni and cheese. I got to get my, dress my turkey, okay. Let's bring it back. And that's why you're here, because you want to de-stress from all of that. And also for any family distractors, or even if this is going to be a hard time for grief or something like that, this will allow you doing these practices to help you navigate through all of those. So let's think about this. How do your family experiences set you up for more of the same? What can you do? When you get ready after this exercise, just jot all these things down. Especially old behaviors, and some of the old behaviors might go, okay, spike the eggnog because I have to deal with all of this. Did it really work? Just gave you a headache the next day. So maybe making it a less headachy experience by practicing these techniques. If you tried it before and it didn't work, I think that's why you're here now. So we're going to do what we call a blue sky meditation. And with that, you're basically saying, I am the sky. I am safe. The situation is temporary. Old habits and strategies that don't work are the clouds passing through the sky. Stressful moments are airplanes flying into and out of my atmosphere. Challenging relatives are dark clouds that float in from the west and out through the east. They will blow away. All stressors and challenging people dynamics are they just temporary? Only the sky is permanent. I am big enough to contain all of these elements of life and still be safe and well. I am the sky. So as we get ready to do this last meditation, I want you to kind of think of yourself as the sky, as the blue sky, and as any distractors, any stressors, any family situations as the clouds, just drifting slowly out from the east to the west, as the airplanes going by, just passing through, always going back to the fact that you are the sky, which is permanent and not bothering you at all. So inhale and exhale, and relaxing with each breath. As you're breathing in and out, any distractors that may come, think about it as the clouds just drifting and floating away from you. As you think about any family members that may be coming in to having to Christmas and Thanksgiving dinners with you and spending the holidays with you. Just breathe in and out. And just think of them as the clouds just drifting away from you. And actually envision yourself just like the bird, like a bird just flying up in the sky. And as you get higher and higher, you're just passing through those clouds of distractors, clouds of anxiety that's holding you, weighing you down. And just fly up higher and higher to where you reach the sky, where it's very clear and blue, the beautiful blue sky. And then as you see it more and more, you realize that all those clouds is no longer there because they just drifted and floated away. So just take this time, feeling the warmth of the sun radiating and enveloping your whole body, your whole being, making you feeling more and more relaxed, more and more calm, and more at peace with yourself, peace with others. It's such a wonderful feeling. And as we're doing this, if you feel anything distracting you, it's okay. Just observe it. Look at it. And just go back to your breathing. How does it make you feel? You don't have to push it away. You don't have to deny it. Just observe it. And then go back to your breathing. Inhaling and exhaling. And relaxing with each breath. Feeling at peace with yourself because you're just enjoying the calmness and the beauty of the blue sky. Inhaling and exhaling. So I want you to find yourself coming back. So as you come back, you feel so much calmer and all the distractors are gone. So we're gonna this is a 3-minute and we're kind of running out of time. I do apologize. But the color visualization is really, you just kind of look at your colors, you breathe out stress, and what color is it? You can make the stress your red and breathe in calm. What is your color? Be blue. So when you're doing 5 breaths, as each breath you breathing out your stresses and you see that red color breathing out, and you inhale the color blue, whatever color you pick. And you could do that, and that helps. Just doing that for 3 minutes can help to reset your brain, especially during the holidays. So what I want you to do is to, ask yourself these questions. What coping strategies can you develop to help you deal with the family stressors and help you enjoy your holiday? This may include old habits that just don't work anymore, and what if they are, don't do it. And then jot down the thoughts and feelings that you want to have that are obstacles to your balance and happiness. And then as you're doing that, create mechanisms, strategies to help you. I call them putting in your toolbox. So as you write down before the holiday season starts, and you start having a lot of family, kind of think about all the different stressors that you may encounter. And then next to it, think of what strategies, the hummingbird, the deep breathing, the color visualization, whatever you could think of that we've talked about today, kind of jot that down next to it. And then that way, and make it a little sticky. So every time Aunt Josie is trying to stuff this nasty sweet potatoes in my mouth, and it really upsets me, I am going to visualize the blue sky. Or Uncle Harry is really getting on my nerves with that cigar, which I hate. I'm going to envision the hummingbird. I'm just going to go, Whatever distractors that you may encounter, jot them down and jot down what coping mechanisms you want to engage in. So we're finished with this presentation. Are there any questions or comments that you would like to address?